Hi everyone, how's it going? Cliff here with another video. It is day 30 of a daily upload to YouTube challenge that I've been doing, and it's been quite the journey. Anyway, I thought what I could do today is to do a recap, go through the videos and then add additional feedback. Maybe there was something that I left out or realized later after uploading that video on that day that, oh, maybe I could have added this, maybe I could have added that, maybe I could have done this thing differently. Perhaps there's something new I can add to those videos. I'm also curious to see if there are any mistakes. Maybe I said something that wasn't quite right, or I didn't really elaborate on something. I can think of a few instances where that happened. But yeah, I got the playlist up and we're starting from day number 1. What's in my bag for IRL live streaming? It's a pretty good way to start off the series from the beginning. Today I thought I could do a follow-up video where I showed you what's in my bag I'm using right now. This is a crossbody bag. Crossbody bag. And a fanny pack or a bum bag or something like that. No. The other bag is the same bag from Big Design. I've been calling the lightsaber. Anchor 250 watt. 87. I probably should have mentioned a power grip, but I don't really use it very often. But I would for longer streams if I needed to do something 5+ hours. Mini tripod, I have used it several times just throughout this series. Yep, mic mini. Yep, I've been using the mic too. Oh, okay. Not bad. I think I did that unscripted. I thought when I first started making this video I would be able to do the whole review on that day, but it quickly became apparent that I wouldn't be able to do it. So it ended up being a 3-part series. I think it transitions pretty well into the second video. Oh yeah, I need to make a version of this where it's all 3 in 1. 1,000 views for this video. I think the hardest part of this was getting the stats and being able to interpret it. I think I had a lot of this before I made the video, so I could just compile my thoughts. Whereas I tried to do something like this for a later video, but because I had to create all the stats and everything on the same day, I wasn't able to make that video. Yeah, something I noticed, I don't actually show the formula for the last one. Yeah, this part here, there's no formula. Yeah, it's crazy how good the MIDI 7 has been. Oops. Wow. So many steps. I think I got everything in that one. Don't feel like I missed any important steps. This is the only video I had prepped before the 30-day challenge. There are no other videos. So every other video in this challenge, I had to record, edit, upload, then add all the thumbnails and everything on the same day. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I think if they could fix those 2 issues, it'd be a lot better. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the VOD was broken big time. So I thought we could do something a little more fun, making IRL live streaming tips that I've used over the last 3, 4, 5 years that I've been doing this. I've used more than one of these apps. I'd like to know if you can guess which one. Here we go. I would leave this out of the next one of these. I think I needed to elaborate on why Moment was S tier. Mobland! Oh, that's right. I was hungover, and I was still feeling it a few days later. Yeah, that's a big one for me. I thought I'd need to make a video on Moment Snapshot, but I don't think I do. I don't like how I repeated DJI devices twice. Ah, syncing cameras. It's Metaltron. Yeah, I think it's important to mention this because I've had people say, oh no, use this value, it'll work. And it primarily happened because I was using the S23 Ultra as a mobile hotspot. The numbers, they weren't the same. Ah, streamable video. It's how I just woke up. I look kind of tired. I think my energy is different when I'm standing. You reckon? You good? This is something that I was wanting to do more with my content, and that's to reuse what I'm covering in my live streams. Because there are things that I've covered and talked about that would have been really good as videos. This was maybe one of the first times I was able to do that. At the moment, I'm thinking this app is okay. I can't rely on it for YouTube chat. So when the quota runs out and you no longer get messages, can't have that, so I've been looking at other options. I hope that they can do the video ID thing like Moblin and StreamBuddy do. I think StreamBuddy is a better app at the moment. We'll see. Oh yeah, Insta360 Luna Ultra. What a shame. The B-roll. Lots of really impressive specs. Yeah, it doesn't look very good zoomed in. This is really good. I like, especially with flickering lights. It's something I notice a lot with Action 4. It's pretty bad sometimes. But yeah, lots of really cool features. I like that sliding protector thing too. That's cool. To do a side-eye thing. Lots of specs, lots of numbers. This is one of those videos where the topic they keep coming up enough I figured I need to make a video on it. So when someone asks me about it, I can just link to this video. The little nod there. Okay, we've moved my camera to the other side because it is sort of overlapping the other one. S tier. Why did I move it up? Don't remember. The tier list. Not sure what else I could put a tier list on. Yeah, this is a video that I wanted to do. Didn't do well, and I think it's because I put ChatGPT in the title. I think people are so against both things that it just got no views. What was I using? I think I was using IRL Pro back then. Past the halfway mark. I think the flow isn't bad. It's not bad from video to video so far. Oh, the buzzer sound. I try to cater to both iPhone and Android users with that one. And then just using two apps, IRL Pro and Moblin. Ah, the Moody video. I knew I had to finish the Moody 7 review series. Yep, still stand by that. Ooh, wow, okay. Oh, that's right. This week I wanted to do scripted videos for every day. True. All the hard stuff, so easy. So those big three that I talked about, disconnect protection, bonding, multi-streaming, done really well. Update on that one, I can now use my Moody 7 as the mobile hotspot. Keen to try it out again. Anchor 250 watt. Yeah, I've done 7-8 hour live streams with the Anchor 250 watt. Don't have to think about it. That's great. Yeah, one of my best buys. Still going strong after over a year. The struggle's real. So go from the Anchor 250 watt to this one. I think I misunderstood during the live the question, but I'll try and address that later. This is one of those things you don't realize until you start live streaming, how quickly your battery drains. So your standard battery bank's not going to cut it. I don't think I understood what my hands were doing there in some of that. Oh, dual format. Still working on it. Still early days for this. But for my, underpowered computer, it's the best option I have until I can upgrade. Yeah, I'm sorted if they can do that. But Twitch are doing something different with their dual format system. Whereas YouTube, they create two separate streams, so Sleepy Chat. Still early days with this one. I've tried it a few times. I think when I was reading through this, I didn't quite understand that it was TTS, not messages. So if you can at least see your messages, that's the most important thing. And then TTS, also important, but not so bad. Just too bad it's not an app. If it was an app, even better. Oh, I think I forgot to change a filter on my desktop background. So the transparency was like 50%. Streamable. They don't currently support what I was doing in this video. I think the way this works is whenever you boot up the server, it creates a whole new instance of OBS. The password and everything is changed. So I did message my contact at Streamable to see if they could add support for it, because it'd be a nice alternative way of being able to control the remote OBS. Because they could include the Moban relay within these settings here, the import into Moban. So I could just include all of that. That was originally at the beginning of the video, but I moved it at the end because I figured people would want to just get to the main part of the video. So I moved it at the back for those people who are really interested in it. Actually, I need to ask Seronius to tell me how to pronounce his username again. I can put it as a nickname in Moban. I thought it was in there, but I don't know what happened. Oh yeah, that's the game. Wait, what was this one? I think that's one of the downsides. Like I already had OBS Blade installed on my phone. I just assumed it was still in Google Play until I did some research after I'd recorded the video and then had to add that bit in to where you could find it. So then I ended up making maybe the next video. Yeah, one of the next videos where I mentioned the alternative, which is OBS Controller. In case you're not comfortable with downloading something from GitHub, installing that on your Android. This is a way better app. It looks better and functions better. And other ones a bit nerfed. I've actually known about this for maybe over a year and didn't really need to look into it until recently, where the home setup's way different. So I'm not able to pull forward anymore. Not the traditional way. This was a good alternative. There are still some things that don't work with this. At 69. Ooh, this was a late nighter. We're in the midnight oil on this one. Okay, this is the alternative to OBS Blade. If you want an app that does basically the same thing, but is available on Google Play. Oh yeah, this is one I have to make a video on, but I need to use it more. New streaming app for Android called IOL whatever. That is actually the name. I think they need to use a different name. What if I had to start over from scratch? Very moody. With the Better Call Saul thing. And I don't know if you guys noticed after watching this video, but the song that I've been using for the last month or so, I switched to a different song at the end of the video. I planned on doing that around the midway mark, the 15th or 16th, but I figured this makes sense because this is a video with the title starting over, right? So you start over from one song to a different song. I tried not to do much editing in this portion to emphasize starting over where you wouldn't have access to editing. You know, all you'd have is your phone, even though there's quite some fancy stuff you can do on a phone. But I tried to sort of show that that's what you'd be going through initially, you know, starting over. So here I start bringing everything back in, like the music, the titles and everything. Once you're using something like the TV Go app, Streamable, then you're basically back to normal. Yeah, I think this order is what I would do. Oh, although I would have the phone and the phone lanyard. That's something that I've realized when I was out on my walk. I always had my phone on the lanyard, so I'd already have that. This comes up a lot. Although, I did get a comment where someone has multiple wireless cameras. So that's something I will need to do more. I've done it maybe once or twice. Currently, let's see, my Action 4 has latency of 1000 and the debug settings I've got it at 3.16. So I'll have to check the Pocket 3, see if that's also 1000. I would probably tweak that up or down. So if I was to use the Pocket 3 and also, let's say, front back camera as a picture-in-picture, they would be in sync, but based on the settings for my Action 4. So that's the one I use all the time. Last video.
Hello and thank you, Cliff, for inviting me.
Met.
My name is Midman40 and I will be discussing my unique IRL multi-camera background.
Give him a follow.
This is the multi-camera.
So it's wireless HDMI, very low latency compared to RTMP streaming, where the latency can be 1 second, 2 or 3 seconds. So the latency, I think it's like milliseconds. That's how quick it is compared to RTMP streaming. RTMP streaming needs latency of at least a second. Otherwise you're going to get a lot of glitching, and that latency can throw you off, especially if you've got a way to monitor that camera, because it's not going to be in real time with what you're doing. So in this kit, there's no RTMP at all. It's either via cable, USB-C, UVC mode into his ballot box, or it is wireless HDMI. So everything in the ballot box through the video switcher is HDMI. Also, the Sony 3000, you would normally connect that to a ballot box with cables. One HDMI, one power cable. They got a big long cable running into the bag, so he's eliminated the cables. And with the battery bank, it's going to last quite a long time on its own independent power. So yeah, pretty cool. With the way that I'm doing things at the moment, because my streams are fairly short, 3 to 5 hours, I'm okay with hot swapping batteries. I'll plug a charging cable into the Action 4 and take one battery out, replace it with a fresh one, then unplug the charging cable. I might do that 1, 2, maybe 3 times. For a longer stream, let's say 8 hours, that's when I'd use something like a power grip, which would give it 10 hours or so battery life. So UVC, okay, right. Because the Action 4 is USB UVC from the Action 4 into HDMI so that it can then be plugged into the switcher. Chat phone will probably on his wrist. This is pretty impressive. Oh, let's move me back. I'd added all the little graphics on top of his graph for you to be able to follow what was happening. He did have his mouse on the screen, but it's very tiny, at least for my eyes. So I added this above, I added it there as a way to transition from his material back to me. And also I added those little transitions. Look at this guy. I think I really emphasized how big these were for an IRA backpack. Yeah, so this ending bit, I think I could have done a better job. I needed to spin it around from the downsides into something a little more positive, which I don't feel like I did. That's it. Wow. Well, that was my 30 days of daily uploads to YouTube. Let me check my notes. I wrote a couple of things down. Let's see. So what have I learned from daily uploading to YouTube for 30 days straight? Let's see. It's hard. Lots of long hours. I miss sleep. I don't think it had a huge effect on my channel, but maybe long term it might. In the short term, I didn't see a big jump in subscribers or views, things like that, but I think some of those topics I covered, they will be evergreen. You know, there will be things that people will tune into, so maybe they might check out the other videos that were a part of that 30-day challenge. My most popular videos, they were my product reviews, like with the Moody 7. There's going to be a lot of excitement around it while it's new, but in the long term, maybe not so much. And see, I think the scripted videos, they didn't take as long as I thought they would. They also kept me on topic. My rant videos are a lot harder to edit. For example, I had one of those where the original video was over an hour long, and it was very hard for me to get through that, especially when I could see that there was all this other stuff I still needed to trim down. I have been able to speed things up. Okay, so this is the OBS that I use for recording my videos. Got some notes here, so I'll try and refer to them. The resolution that I'm recording in is 2K, so my videos are 1080p, but because I'm recording a much larger canvas, I can crop in, zoom into things and still maintain somewhat good quality, and that would be for the webcam and also for my desktop. I have a plugin which is called OBS Source Record. For this source, if I right click and bring up filters, now what this does is it gives me the ability to record multiple scenes at the same time. So for example, this one, if I bring that up again, filters, webcam 1, and if I make a mistake between what I'm saying, then I can always switch to one of those other cameras instead. And in fact, I'll probably do that for this video where I'll need to cut to something else. I'm only doing 2 recordings at the moment, one of my webcam and the combined view of my desktop and webcam. For highly technical videos where there's a lot of explaining, that's where I would have the multiple cameras. Like in today's one, I'm thinking I might need to switch back to me every now and again. I kind of pick and choose whether I need to do that or pause and then switch to a scene like one which is webcam, then switch to the webcam and desktop. Now if I'm doing a voiceover video, then I would switch my OBS to a profile, one which is for audio only. The file is saved as an MP3, it's a lot smaller, don't need to look good. Don't need to dress up for that, just need to get in front of the mic and start recording. This has caused issues because there have been a few times I've been recording thinking I had video, but I didn't, and it was audio only. In fact, that happened earlier today, so I had to stop recording. Fortunately, it was like very, very early into the video. if I could stop and then change profiles. I try to check the files first before going into a full video. For example, when I do a recording, I use the MKV video format, and with that you can actually watch the video while you're still recording, which you can't do with MP4. You have to wait until you finish recording and then you can watch it, but with the MKV file format you can. So it's a good way just to check maybe if you're using the correct scenes, if you're using source record, see, oh yeah, this one is my webcam, this is the combined one, webcam plus desktop. So that's pretty handy. And then after you've finished recording, you're going to file, remix recordings. You can remix MKV files into MP4 later. Also, I use OBS to make my thumbnails. I don't have Photoshop anymore. I got rid of it. I do have Affinity, which I've been using for some stuff. I kind of find it funny that I can use OBS for thumbnails, and I could do like a little demonstration of that. Before I do, I wanted to share with you other things that I do in Davinci Resolve, for example. So something that I did earlier was to do a quick test of video. I wanted to make sure I was splitting the audio. One audio track which contains everything, and then I have another audio track which is just of my mic, and then the third track is of just the video that's playing. That way, if I need to adjust the volumes of most likely the video that I'm watching, then I can dial that down so that you can hear what I'm saying. I'm thinking maybe track 1 will be fine, but in case it isn't, then I'll be able to use these other tracks. And that's something that you do inside of OBS. Output, I've got track 1, track 2, and then track 5 selected. So those are going to be saved to the video file that we were just looking at. And then if we look at our audio settings, you'll see that we've got application audio capture. I think that is a plugin. And then that's being output to track 1, track 5 and 6. And then the microphone is being output to 1 and 2. So I knew I would have to include 1 and then 2 and then maybe 5 or 6. I just went with number 5. Another thing that I did was I had a separate timeline which is always here. This is where I have reusable assets that I can just quickly copy and paste into the main timeline. I find this a lot quicker than power bins. Like for example, skip to this part, I want to use this title, I'll just copy that and then paste it into the timeline that I'm working on. I mean, I'm sure that there's lots of ways you could do all of this, so I guess it all depends, you know. Alright, so one last thing is I want to show you the funny, well, I think it's a funny way of making thumbnails. But essentially, this is how I make my thumbnails. Basically, I do it in OBS. I Photoshop the title that you see here, that's what you see on my YouTube channel thumbnails. I type in what the title will be, and then I also update what the subtitle will be. And then I would simply add something behind me on the desktop, and then I would use a shortcut key to take a screen grab. I'd pose and then do the shortcut. Normally I don't have the mic in the shot, but I think for today's one I will. But yeah, that's the idea of it. The recording OBS saves the screenshot and then that becomes my thumbnail. So let's move this out of the way, and then I need to put something behind me which I think will be my playlist. We're going to zoom in just that part, I think. Going to hold it so in OBS, and then I'm going to bring up a filter, color correction, which is going to adjust the opacity, and then that's just going to dim it so that I stand out more from the desktop. I'm going to move that to the side, and then to find a pose. I think I'll leave the mic in this time. Oh, I need it to be a little bit different from yesterday's. I'm not sure about the title. See, this title could say what I learned, and then the actual video title could be 30 days of daily upload challenge. Maybe. Okay, let's take some screenshots. Because usually it'll take me several of these. So I go surprise. So Shift, Alt, Shift, F5. And there's one done now, and to watch out for the little background. Try looking at the camera. Yeah, you can't see when I've taken a screenshot, but I don't have an animation or anything. I don't need one. Took another one. Yeah, basically I just keep doing that until I find one that I like, and it could be 20 photos later. So that's first one. Yeah. Hey, not bad. I don't think I've got a smiling one. Haven't had a smiling one in a while. Yeah, no. Not bad, but I think it's just similar to the previous one. Highlight, though, no, it's a bit crazy smile. Back, maybe a bit more funny. I think I should just go with one of those. Sure, why not? And that is the final video of the 30-day of daily upload challenge. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, I know this one wasn't really about streaming, kind of, not really, but let me know in the comments. Appreciate your feedback. And that's it for me. Don't plan on doing it ever again, but who knows, we'll see. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.